Hello and welcome to another edition of TPG Reviews. Today I'm going to be reviewing RuPaul's All-Star Drag Race Season 3, the latest episode called The Snatch Game. Now if you don't watch RuPaul, The Snatch Game is probably the most popular episode done on RuPaul's Drag Race on any season, and it's basically where they spoof the show The Match Game, which used to have a bunch of celebrities and things, so of course the queens have to impersonate famous people, and then RuPaul asks them these really crazy funny questions, and they answer questions, and nobody ever wins. It's just a fun thing, and it's a wonderful episode, but they have to try to find a way to make their character funny. So this episode started off with the girls in the workroom. They were talking, and Shangela finds a note that Thorgy Thor had written to Trixie Mattel after her elimination, and it said some not very complimentary things about Shangela. So of course Shangela got upset because she wanted to know why Trixie had hung this in the workroom for people to read. And Trixie and her got into a little tiff, and Trixie tried to explain to her that basically she didn't do it to be facetious. You know, she did it because it's her friend and this and the other, and she ended up ripping the bottom of the note off. And of course Kennedy was like, oh girl, that's shady, that's shady. And some of the girls felt Trixie was being shady. Some felt, they didn't know what to think. So basically the squabble ended with a little while later, Trixie apologized to Shangela, and they worked everything out like adults. And Shangela did feel that Trixie's apology was sincere and that she didn't mean to do it and all that kind of stuff. So they made up. So then they got ready for the Snatch Game, and RuPaul comes in and he goes over their characters like he always does. He gives them advice on who they should do and who they shouldn't do, things like that. So I'm going to talk about the characters, and then we'll talk a little bit about the Snatch Game. So it's the characters that they chose. Kennedy Davenport chose to do Phaedra Parks from The Real Housewives of Atlanta. Chi Chi chose to do the famous poet Maya Angelou. Ben de la Creme chose to do Paul Lynde, who was a famous gay comedian. He wasn't, you didn't know he was gay back then, but he was. A gay comedian who used to be on the Hollywood Squares back in the day. He was always the center square, very funny. Trixie Mattel chose to do RuPaul. Bibi Zahara Bonet chose to do Grace Jones. Shangela did Jennifer Lewis of the TV show Blackish, and Aja chose to do Crystal LaBeija. And Crystal LaBeija is a very famous drag queen from the drag scene back in like the 80s and 90s and things like that. She was very funny, the Crystal LaBeija was. So and then of course this the last celebrity there was actually the real life Kristen Chenoweth, who I love Kristen, and she said no one's ever done her, so she decided she would do herself, and that was just a cute little thing to it. So let me talk about this Snatch Game. Now, to me, this was the worst Snatch Game I've ever seen in Drag Race history, or herstory as they call it. I did not like it at all. I didn't find it very funny. I didn't think a lot of them grasped their characters. So let me go into a little bit of detail. Kennedy as Phaedra Parks, she just kind of didn't really land it to me. She was just like, man, she was flat. She had one funny thing she did, and the rest of it was just kind of like there, which surprised me because when Kennedy was on her season, she actually won the Snatch Game with her impersonation of Little Richard. Chi Chi, first of all, she spelled the name wrong. She spelled Maya Angelou wrong, and secondly, she just wasn't even existent. Like, she was terrible. I did not like Chi Chi's at all. Ben de la Creme totally nailed Paul Lynde. He had the look down, he had the voice down, the mannerisms and everything. And it's really hard to win this doing a man. Actually, the only person to ever do that, as I said, was Kennedy. So I was really wondering if he would, how Ben would do by doing a male character. Trixie Mattel, and as you all know, I am a huge Trixie fan. I am huge Trixie fan. Trixie's probably my favorite of all time, and I love her as well as Ben de la Creme. But Trixie did RuPaul, and she did not do a good job. I don't think any queen should ever attempt to do RuPaul again. Trixie really overthought what she was doing, and she was terrible. She couldn't deliver the jokes in the right place, and it was not a good thing. And it's terrible, and I hate saying anything ugly about Trixie, but it was not good. Bibi Zahara as Grace Jones. She started out really, really good, but then you never really heard much from her Grace Jones after that. Shangela as Jennifer Lewis. I'm a huge Jennifer Lewis fan. If you don't know who Jennifer Lewis is, she plays on the show Blackish, but she was also like Whitney Houston's mom in The Preacher's Wife. She was Tina Turner's mom in What's Love Got to Do with It, or Angela Bassett's mom. Great, funny, comedic actress, and Shangela nailed her. She had her voice down pat, her look, everything. And Shangela is actually friends with Jennifer Lewis, so I thought that was kind of funny. Aja as Crystal LaBeija was perfect. She looked just like her. She really had the look down. She had the stank face that she gave. I thought Aja did a really good job. So they kept asking questions, and very few of them just really landed it. I think Kristen Chenoweth, believe it or not, stole it away from everybody, except for Ben de la Creme and Shangela. They were on all the time, top notch, just always, always, always delivering. The rest of them, it was terrible. So they go back to the workroom, and Trixie realizes that she's done bad and that she kind of admits defeat, which I really have a lot of respect for Trixie because she did admit she had done bad and this, that, and the other. So the next challenge was flower power, and they had to come out in a flowered outfit, and I thought most of their outfits for that were really, really, really nice. I don't really have a favorite. I thought Trixie's was really cool, but it was a lot, as they said, a lot. I thought Kennedy's was really pretty. Aja's was really pretty. BB Zahara's was pretty. I thought Chi-Chi looked really amazing, and I agree with the judges. It was probably the best she ever looked. Shangela, stunning, stunning, stunning. So anyway, then RuPaul picks the top two and the bottom three. And the top two were, of course, Shangela and Ben de la Creme. I mean, and this is crazy for Ben de la Creme because so far Ben de la Creme has won every single challenge since the very first episode. So he picked the bottom three, which were Trixie Mattel, Kennedy, and Chi-Chi. And it was crazy to me because Trixie was really, really upset, but she knew she was. And so they go backstage and they talk about, they pick the girls and they go and they have a one-on-one with them. And Trixie basically tells both Shangela and Bendela that, she's okay if she goes home. She knows she's been the bottom a lot. She's had a good time. She doesn't really think she's going to win, but she's learned a lot. Trixie is really worried about whether or not Shangela's going to pick her because of what happened between them or whatever, and they still have a little bit of a kind of a heart-to-heart conversation, and that's kind of brought up, and Shangela kind of mentions it, how do I know you got my back, this, that, and the other. Kennedy, she basically tells them both that, there's got to be a good, a bad, and a medium, and she was in the middle, and so she kind of feels like she's not in any jeopardy. Whatever, Kennedy, whatever. So they go out there on stage, and they have to do what's called lip sync for your legacy, and whoever lip syncs for their legacy, they win $10,000. So the song was "I Kissed a Girl" by Katy Perry, not Carrie Perry, Katy Perry. Blah. And now this was a wonderful lip sync, but to me it really looked staged because Shangela and Bendela, they played off each other so well, doing the whole kissing thing. And I thought, I was like, this is rehearsed. They knew somehow that they were going to do this because they played off each other brilliantly. I mean, they really did. They were just brilliant in the way they played it. So basically, after they were done, RuPaul says, Shangela, you've won the thing. And Shangela's like, oh, I'm excited. And then he goes, Bendela, you've also won. So now, even though Bendela's won 4 competitions, she's only won 1 lip sync. So this was her second. So they end up splitting the money between the two of them, which is $5,000 apiece. And they're told by RuPaul that they both get to send somebody home. So of course, this is just like got my heart racing. I'm like, oh God, oh God, oh God. So, of course, Bendela goes first, and she pulls her lipstick out. They pick it by picking a lipstick and sticking it in their outfit, and she pulls out the lipstick of Chi-Chi DeVayne, and she explains why she chose Chi-Chi. And so that meant that Chi-Chi was eliminated. Well, then, after that, you see Shangela, and Shangela starts talking about this thing, and of course Trixie starts crying right away because Trixie thinks that she's going home. And honestly, we all did. And she pulls out her lipstick, and it's also Chi-Chi. So they both sent Chi-Chi home, and I think Trixie was safe, and I think it was a way of Shangela kind of mending fences with Trixie. So yeah, Chi-Chi is gone, but of course they end it with the crazy thing they've been doing with Alaska, and Chad Michaels coming up behind her and spooking her. So somebody's definitely coming back in the competition. My guess is probably going to be one of the eliminated queens, but I know who I'm hoping to come back in the competition, but I'm not going to talk about that right now. But that is the latest edition of RuPaul's Drag Race Season 3 of All Stars. I hope that you have enjoyed this. Sorry for the background noise. My dog Waffles is currently fighting with her best friend. Not fighting, playing with her best friend. They love to play with each other. So anyway, guys, I'll see you later. Remember, hating is a disease, and some folks need to get well soon. And guys, remember, in the words of Alaska, bye!